Okay. Today I want to share one case which is regarding the uh, endodontic diagnosis. As you know, endodontic diagnosis in majority cases it's so simple and so straightforward if you are following the protocols of diagnosis. But sometimes there could be some confusion, and then it needs more, exploration and more. Uh, when you go more deeper, then you can come when then you know that what is actually a problem. So same there's today with the case we discussed today, there are some it's not so difficult one, but there's some confusion in the diagnosis. So that's why I want to share this case today, which I come across at my clinical practice. So it's especially for my students. So just to share it, and that will help you to diagnose sometimes a bit confused cases in the endodontics. So here it is a case. It is a patient was almost a 60-year-old, and he came to me with a complaint of the pain in this tooth. He gave the history of 3 months back. He felt a pain in this tooth, especially the hot and cold sensitivity. And then he visited the dentist, and dentist gave him antibiotics and analgesics. And then he took these antibiotic analgesics, and the pain was gone, and he was okay. But he didn't go back to the dentist. But before 1 week, he felt again a pain, and little bit swelling, as he uh, told me, and there's some pain on, biting and mastication. But and then he started again self medication, taking the antibiotic and analgesics, which somehow gave him a relief from the severe pain, but still he feels some pain. So then he visited to me. So just when I examined the patient after taking the history and all that, I found this tooth having caries involving this distal marginal ridge. But caries, it seems so, shallow. It's not seems so deeper. And but when I percuss the tooth was tender to percussion, and then I start palpation. There's some soft gingival tissues because of some abscess, and there was a pain on even on palpation. So pain on palpation and pain on percussion indicates periapical parodontitis, but it carries, it's not so it seems no deeper. So it can give me I start some confusion regarding the diagnosis. That you can see here a caries lesion. Caries is involving this distal marginal ridge, and here it's outline of this caries. So this caries this like this. So I just then start took the radiograph, periapical radiograph, and I'm sorry that it's not so clear. But here you can see that a caries with lesion is bit visible on this radiograph, periapical radiograph, and this is the caries lesion involving this distal marginal ridge, and it is like this. So this was the lesion here, and it was so away from the pulp chamber. So there is much dentine here. You can see this distance of that. This is the distal pulp horn, and that distal pulp horn is a bit recede as you compare it with the mesial pulp horn, and so elongated because this distal pulp, due to the caries, irritation continue, and that's why there is a much more tertiary dentine formation, and that caused the more dentine deposition, and that dentine deposition caused the this narrowing of the pulp chamber here. So that's why that, but it looks that the caries is so away from the pulp chamber. So it could be some other cause because the pulp, uh, even at that moment, I didn't uh, perform the vitality test, which I should perform, because the vitality test, it could be, it's better to exactly know the pulp vitality status of the pulp. If the pulp is state vital, because there could be some other reasons of per pain and percussion, and uh, then the endodontics. But when the pulp is not responding, it means that indicates that it could be endodontic. But if it's a pulp is responding, there could be any other reason apart from the endodontic. So I just didn't perform the vitality test. Just I took the radiograph. But the radiograph here at the periapical, if you check the radiograph, the periapically, you can see here a lesion involving the both roots. This lesion here, it's again not so because of poor quality of the radiograph. So, but it is bit here, you can see uh, around the both roots, periapical lesion was visible. So there was a periapical radiolucency around the both mesial root and distal root. There's a pain and percussion, and there's a palpation was positive. So my diagnosis was that of symptomatic apical periodontitis. So it was just softening at the apical area of gingival tissue. It was no swelling at all, but so that's a diagnosis. Simply, it was a symptomatic apical periodontitis. But at that moment, I even about the pulp status, which seems to be a necrotic, but it was not confirmed. And that was again the questions here: what could be the potential cause of the pulpal damage or pulpal necrosis, or what could be the cause of this periapical lesion and the symptoms of the patient? Because caries seems so, similar, and it's not approaching or encroaching the pulpal tissues. So what could be the potential cause of pulpal damage here? That was some confusion here in diagnosis. So I started to remove the caries without giving the local anesthesia. I started to remove the caries with the high speed and per, and after during removing, even patient was not feeling any sensitivity. So it was indicating that his pulp is necrosed. And when after removal of the caries, you can see here what the micro crack which I found here after when I removed and cleaned it. You can see here a crack running from the marginal ridges towards the pulp chamber, and that crack here, you can see this crack towards pulp. So this could be definitely the cause of the pulpal necrosis and pulp infection, and ultimately that pulp infection involved the periapical area and symptoms produce. So this could a simple case with this which was during initial examination, it was not visible, and the initially it was that it could be a caries lesion, but the caries was not so deeper. So that why it created some curiosity that what could be the other cause. As you know, these micro cracks, and mostly the patient at the age of the patient is 60 and above 60. So it was there. He didn't have any history of the bruxism or any other things, or even uh, eating some betel nuts or anything. But age, even at older age, the micro cracks are common, involving the teeth. And this micro crack here, you can see that is the uh, crack, which may contain the bacteria, and that bacteria may travel through into the pulp chamber and cause the pulp damage. But this, sometimes these micro cracks are so deeper that may involve the root surface area even. And when the root surface area involved, the periodontal tissues, periodontium involved, and to the bone loss, and then the periodontal problem uh, created, and that some in majority of the cases the tooth is not salvageable then, and then it causes the loss of the tooth. Or sometimes in case of multi-rooted tooth, if the crack involve a single root, that root can be removed, root resection or hemisection can be performed. So but in this case it was not so deep. It's just if involve up to the pulp chamber. So I uh, read the pulp chamber, remove the roof of the pulp chamber, and you can see here a crack now. It's almost diminished, and but its traces you can see here up to the pulp chamber. And sometimes they can even progress or the floor of the pulp chamber, but here it was not present at the floor of the pulp chamber, but sometimes they are present and in progress at the floor of the pulp chamber even, and even that causes some leakage in the floor of the pulp chamber, and furcation area involved, and that again a difficult case. And but in this crack, if it is root surface area involves, then the saving the tooth is could become problem. But fortunately the patient this crack was not so deeper and up to the pulp chamber. So this could be a potential reason or cause of the pulpal damage, and simply and produce the periapical parodontitis. So I just debride the canals without any local anesthesia because it was necrose, and then I applied the intracanal medicaments with the calcium hydroxides and seal the cavity temporarily. And my further plan is that I will recall the patient after 10 days, and then I seal the canals and will do the coronal restoration. And my definitive restoration will be the extra coronal restoration, could be a crown. So this was a case just to share you. Sometimes things are a bit tricky, and but with some following the protocols and all these things, you may reach the or diagnosis. And it is important. Treatment depend upon the diagnosis. Your success of the treatment depends upon your diagnosis. So you have to diagnose it, and then you have to treat it. This is a protocol should be followed to get the good results. Thank you so much.